Bendy and the Dark Revival is a great and worthy sequel that improves on the graphics and mechanics of its predecessor, expands the story, and offers an immersive and disturbing first-person horror experience. Produced by Joey Drew Studios, Bendy and the Dark Revival is the sequel to Bendy and the Ink Machine. Cushioned somewhat by confusing narrative beats, underutilized characters, and a handful of awkward sequences, Bendy and the Dark Revival nonetheless does justice to the series' promising concept and compelling aesthetic. Similar to the horror game franchise's Poppy Playtime and Five Nights at Freddy's, Bendy and the Dark Revival tells the story of Audrey, a late working animator who finds herself at a strange and deranged version of the now-defunct Joey Drew Studios. The ink-filled labyrinth is populated by various creatures, including the notorious ink demon Bendy, a deformed and evil version of his merry cartoon counterpart. Partially transformed by the ink, Audrey must navigate the treacherous and dilapidated studio in search of an exit. Audrey's Inkai condition allows her to acquire new abilities, and along her journey she forges alliances and uncovers shocking truths about her past. The Bendy and the Dark Revival soundtrack is fantastic, on par with some of the best horror video game soundtracks. In keeping with the mood, thunderous melodies fade into fuzzy notes, frenzied chords come to life, and simple melodies form a triumphant suite. The Dark Revival's sound design is equally impressive. The dilapidated studio is alive with the hissing footsteps of Inkai creatures, eerie metallic sounds, and terrifying screams. The Ink Demon comes to life with an impressive performance by Sean Kristin, whose voice sometimes gargles as if he's talking with liquid in his mouth. This twist heightens the immersion, and when combined with the game's masterful soundtrack and sound design, creates an unnerving and incredibly terrifying experience. The graphics in Bendy and Dark Revival are also gorgeous and complement the excellent audio design. While Audrey is a character that barely appears in the game, the design of her is absolutely gorgeous, claimed in part by the ink. Her glowing eyes and single black limb give her an ethereal and eerie look. The once great studio that Audrey explores is a dilapidated, run-down mess oozing with glittery ink. The Dark Revival offers players the opportunity to explore a variety of locations, including a dark city street, a creepy laboratory, and an Inkai sewage system adorned with strange flora. The animations of Audrey using her abilities, succumbing to enemies, and interacting with her environment feel natural. Bendy and the Dark Revival isn't perfect, but it remains a worthy successor. Based on one of the most memorable viral horror games, Bendy and the Dark Revival's main weakness is its story. Although the game is compulsory, its events lose their luster once completed. Critical plot elements aren't properly supported by the rest of the game's narrative. Populated with familiar and new faces, the Dark Revival doesn't take advantage of its cast. The on-screen interactions with the characters are memorable and engaging, but there just aren't enough to build meaningful relationships. While returning fans will be happy to see old friends again, the Dark Revival gives players little reason to feel connected to these characters, rendering some events hollow. While impressive for an indie horror game, Bendy and the Dark Revival doesn't compare to AAA titles. The enemy models lack variety, it's possible to get stuck on certain puzzles or sequences, and the game's final challenge feels half-baked. Some of Dark Revival's fear mechanics, like the random spawning of the Ink Demon, wear off after the first hour of gameplay. Combined with minor bumps and glitches, it's clear that the Dark Revival was produced by a team that has not quite exceeded its spots. Despite its flaws, Bendy and the Dark Revival remains a worthy sequel to Bendy and the Ink Machine, and is a contender that likely rivals some of the best horror games of 2022. Even better, at $29.99, the game is very affordable, attracting new and old players alike. Bendy and the Dark Revival is an immersive, well-crafted game worth playing for horror fans. Our rating, 4 out of 5. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe.